The first time I saw $200,000 in my account, I thought the app was wrong. I closed it. Then I opened it again. The number was still there. $200,000. I was 29 years old. And here is the strange part. I had never earned a six-figure salary. I did not inherit money. I did not build a viral business. I did not get lucky with crypto. There was no one big moment that changed everything. The money came from ordinary habits repeated for years. For most of my 20s, I saved and invested about $1,500 a month. With employer contributions and market growth, that eventually became roughly $200,000. It was not magic. It was not luck. It was consistency. The biggest lesson I learned was this. Building wealth is not only about how much you make. It is about how much you keep, where you put it, and how long you leave it alone. The first habit was simple. I paid myself first. Every payday, money automatically moved from my checking account into savings and investment accounts before I had a chance to spend it. I did not wait until the end of the month. I did not rely on motivation. I did not trust willpower. The money left first. At first, it felt tight, but after a few months, I adjusted. I stopped missing money I never saw. That one habit made everything else possible. Because willpower gets tired. Systems do not. The second habit was avoiding expensive car debt. A new car feels normal because so many people have one. But a normal payment can still be a dangerous payment. I drove a used, paid-off Toyota for years. It was not impressive. Nobody cared about it. But every month I did not have a car payment. I had more money to save and invest. Other people had nicer cars. I had more freedom. That boring car became one of my biggest financial advantages. The third habit was taking the full employer retirement match. If your employer offers a match and you do not take it, you are turning down free money. A company match is one of the few guaranteed returns most people will ever get. I treated it like a required bill, not optional, not something for later. If my employer was willing to add money to my retirement account, I made sure I got every dollar I could. The fourth habit was treating raises like they never happened. When my income increased, I did not immediately upgrade my lifestyle. I did not move into a nicer apartment. I did not buy a better car. I did not start spending more just because I was earning more. Instead, I increased my automatic savings and investments. That is how I avoided lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is the reason people can earn more money every year and still feel broke. Their paycheck grows, but their spending grows right along with it. A raise is the easiest money to save because you were not living on it before. If you save it before your lifestyle absorbs it, that raise becomes wealth. The next major habit was keeping housing affordable. Housing is usually the biggest expense in a person's life. I did not use the common 30% rule as a target. I used it as a ceiling. For a while, I kept a roommate longer than some people thought was normal. Later, I chose a smaller apartment with a slightly longer commute because it saved me hundreds of dollars every month. A bigger apartment does not compound. A lower rent payment invested every month can. The next habit was making cheap meals the default. This was not about never eating out. It was about not making restaurants the automatic answer every time I was tired. I kept simple meals at home that I actually liked. I cooked enough to have leftovers. I packed lunch when I could. Restaurants became intentional instead of automatic. That saved thousands of dollars a year without making my life miserable. Then I used the 2-day rule. If I wanted something that was not a true need, I waited 48 hours before buying it. Most of the time, the desire disappeared. That taught me something important. A lot of spending is just a temporary mood pretending to be a need. The 2-day rule gave me time to think before money left my account. I also audited subscriptions, streaming services, apps, forgotten trials, gym memberships, cloud storage. These things are designed to disappear into the background. Every few months, I checked my recurring charges. If I was not using something, I canceled it. I also rotated streaming services instead of paying for several at once. Same content, lower cost. The next habit was buying used when it made sense. Furniture, electronics, tools, exercise equipment, and many household items lose value quickly after purchase. Buying used gave me most of the function for a fraction of the price. I stopped seeing secondhand as embarrassing. To me, paying full price for something that loses value immediately was the real mistake. Finally, I invested windfalls, tax refunds, bonuses, rebates, birthday money, side income. If money arrived unexpectedly, I moved it into savings or investments before it became spendable. $1 from a bonus compounds the same way as $1 from a paycheck. Over time, those extra amounts became much more important than I expected. Saving money is only half the game. The other half is putting that money in the right places. I kept my emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. The goal was not to get rich from emergency savings. The goal was to stay protected while still earning something. That emergency fund gave me peace. It meant one bad month would not force me into credit card debt or make me sell investments at the wrong time. Then I invested in low-cost index funds. I did not pick individual stocks. I did not chase hot tips. I did not try to time the market. I bought broad market funds and left them alone. That was the engine. It was boring, but boring worked. A lot of people want investing to feel exciting. They want fast wins and dramatic stories. But exciting investing often turns into gambling. I wanted consistency. The hard part was not finding the perfect investment. The hard part was leaving it alone long enough for compounding to work. I also funded tax-advantaged accounts early. A Roth IRA can be powerful because the money can grow for decades and potentially come out tax-free in retirement. Starting early mattered more than being perfect. Money invested in your 20s has something older. Money does not have time. I also used a health savings account when I could. Many people spend HSA money right away on medical costs. I treated it like a long-term account for future healthcare expenses. The point was simple. Do not just save money. Give it a place where time, tax advantages, and compounding can work together. Building wealth also means protecting yourself from financial drag. I never carried a credit card balance. I used credit cards for convenience, rewards, and fraud protection, but I paid the full balance every month. Credit card interest can destroy progress fast. If you carry a balance at a high interest rate, compounding is still working, but it is working against you. Rewards do not matter if interest is eating your paycheck. I also fix things before replacing them. A phone battery, a loose screw, a torn seam, a broken appliance part. Many problems do not require buying something new. Small repairs saved money again and again. Then once a year, I renegotiated recurring bills. Insurance, internet, and phone plans often creep up because companies expect you not to check. A few uncomfortable calls saved me hundreds of dollars. I also learned that frugal does not always mean cheap. For things I used every day, like shoes, a mattress, a work bag, or a kitchen knife, I bought quality once and kept it for years. Cheap is buying the lowest price again and again. Frugal is paying for real value. I tracked one main number: net worth. I did not obsess over every coffee or every small purchase. Once a month, I added up what I owned, subtracted what I owed, and looked at the direction. That one number told me the truth. And finally, I built a social life that did not require constant spending. A lot of money disappears because people want to belong. Expensive dinners, bars, brunches, trips, events. Saying yes because saying no feels uncomfortable. I did not stop seeing people. I changed how I connected. Hikes instead of bars. Cooking together instead of expensive restaurants. Simple nights with friends instead of constant paid entertainment. That did not make my life smaller. It made it more peaceful. And that was the real shift. I stopped trying to look wealthy. I started quietly becoming wealthy. The $200,000 did not come from one lucky move. It came from automatic saving, avoiding car debt, taking the employer match, saving raises, keeping housing affordable. cooking more, delaying impulse purchases, canceling unused subscriptions, buying used, investing windfalls, using better accounts, buying index funds, avoiding credit card debt, repairing before replacing, renegotiating bills, buying quality where it mattered, tracking net worth, and building a life that did not depend on constant spending. None of these habits were dramatic, but repeated for years, they changed everything. You do not need a perfect salary to start building wealth. You do not need a windfall. You do not need a lucky investment. You need a few boring habits you are willing to repeat for a long time. Because boring habits done consistently are often what create real financial freedom. The goal was never to look rich before 30. The goal was to build enough freedom that my future self would have options. And that is what these habits gave me.